For the 57th year, nearly 600 passionate amateur racers have gathered to select their national champions under a unique format. One race, winner take all. And for the first time in 7 years, their stage is America's National Park of Speed, Road America. Welcome to the Sports Car Club of America Runoffs, our broadcast presented by Mazda.
For 57 years, the SCCA National Championship Runoffs have been a destination for amateur drivers across the country. For many, a win at the Runoffs completes the CV, and in just a few minutes, we'll be turning the e-production cars loose, all 20 of them, in fact, in search of a national championship here at America's National Park of Speed, Road America. My name is Ryan Marine. Tom O'Gorman is to my left. We'll have Hayward Wagner down on pit lane. The e-production race about to get started. 20 cars strong, but Jesse Prather really sent a message on Tire Rack Pole Day. He took pole position, Tom, by over a second, 1.4 seconds or thereabouts between his best lap time on pole day and John Brocka's time that was set on the second day of qualifying, which was a 228.777. Compare that to the 227.322 that saw Prather take pole. And that is a message sent to the rest of this class.
Yeah, and that's 57 years is significant because this is one of the only classes that has existed for all 57 years of the SCCA Championship Runoffs.
Well, with more on the e-production class, standing there amongst them on pit lane is Hayward Wagner. Hi, Hayward.
How you doing, guys? We are really excited about an e-prod race here at the Runoffs. E-production, all production racing. Anything can happen in these races. These cars are purpose-built, high-strung race cars. They have high-compression motors, slick, sticky race tires, and generally speaking, fairly stock suspension points. That all adds up to cars that are very, very fast, but maybe not always completely reliable. Example of that, John Hainsworth, third on the grid. He came to the Runoffs last year and battled issues all week during qualifying, managed to put together a great race to go on the podium. Comes to Road America this year, same story. That car's been apart several times over the week. He does not feel like he's shown his true pace. The driver who has shown true pace, of course, is Jesse Prather. I spoke with him a moment ago to ask him what his strategy was. He kind of shook his head and grinned and said, it's just another session. He's going to go out and run laps just like he did in practice, just like he did in qualifying, and see if he can maintain the gap on the field. Keep an eye out a little bit further back for Matt Reynolds, multi-time national champion in this class in the Miata. He says that it's a patient strategy to see if he can be there at the end, try to challenge Prather for the championship.
Thanks so much, Hayward. And a good point bringing up Matt Reynolds, starting back in fourth, did not set a time on the third day of qualifying, Tire Rack Pole Day, back on Thursday. So he had to rely on his best time from the second day of qualifying. Doesn't have him starting quite as high up as he would like, but perhaps that means he's got a little something in reserve from what we've seen based on the qualifying speeds.
And the third day of qualifying was decidedly the fastest of all 3 days for Runoffs qualifying, but now that we're on Haggerty Race Day, unfortunately in the production categories, particularly F production, it was pretty proven that the Miata may not be the platform for Road America. So an uphill battle in multiple ways for Matt Reynolds in that 99 Mazda Miata, the 1.8-liter variety. A Miata that is having a better run in it. John Brockie, there's a good look at his car, is a multi-time Runoffs participant, but hasn't raced in the Runoffs in e-production in a number of years in that red Miata.
And Brockie is a former champion with a lot of experience. 29 previous runoff starts coming into this weekend, 3 times a champion, but the most recent one came back in 2012. The good news for him, that was right here at Road America. More on him, more on all of these storylines in just a moment, but as the cars make their way out onto the racetrack behind the Corvette pace car, let's introduce you to the starting lineup, beginning with our Tire Rack pole sitter, Jesse Prather from Topeka, Kansas. He'll be driving a 1999 BMW Z3 here today. John Brockie to his outside from Fargo, North Dakota in a 99 Mazda Miata. It's a 1990 Mazda RX-7 that will be campaigned by John Hainsworth from Marlton, New Jersey. Matt Reynolds starting in fourth in a 99 Miata in the Reynolds Brothers Racing entry. Tim Schreier from Dubuque, Iowa, starting in the 5th position in an 87 BMW 325 IS E30. And Cameron Wagren from Littleton, Colorado, starts 6th in a BMW 328 IS E36. William Lampkin starting in 7th from Broomfield, Colorado driving a 1998 BMW 328i SE36. It's a BMW Z3 for Doug Piner, starting in the 8th spot. He hails from Hempstead, North Carolina. Starting 9th, Joe Carr from Petaluma, California, just outside of Sonoma. A 1999 Mazda Miata, that's what he'll be driving today. He'll have Rob Hummel to his flank at the start of this race from McHenry, Illinois, in an 85 Mazda RX-7. Starting 11th from Memphis, Tennessee, Don Tucker in a 95 Mazda Miata. It's a 1973 Nissan 240Z for Lance Lohman, who hails from Bath, Michigan. Starting 13th, Anthony Jimerson from Vallejo, California, in an 86 Mazda RX-7. Aaron Johnson starts 14th from Oakfield, New York, in a Honda S2000. Tim Anastopoulos from Kenosha, Wisconsin, not too far away, starts 15th in an 89 BMW 325i E30. And Kurt Frietsche from Mountain View, California, starting 16th. He drives a 1980 Mazda RX-7. It's a Mazda RX-8, the 2011 edition, for Ron Olson, who starts 17th. Rich Olson, both from Barrington, Illinois, starts in an RX-7 from 1985 alongside. That is 17th and 18th on the grid. And finally, 19th and 20th, Donald Walsh from Ortana, Pennsylvania, in a Mazda RX-7. And Aaron Downey, who has been running a lot of hardship laps this week, trying to get things sealed up in his 1976 Mazda RX-3 SP. He will start tail end Charlie in the 20th position. As you can tell, a lot of different cars, a lot of different philosophies for making speed in this class, and that, Tom, should make for a fascinating battle between these BMWs and the Mazdas and the Nissans. A great mix of power plants, a great mix of race cars.
And again, E-Production, one of the oldest classes in SCCA's history. The format for the class hasn't really changed much, though. These were all street cars at one point, heavily modified into race cars, as Hayward said. Significantly modified engines. You can see the bodywork, some of them with roofs removed, but again, still street cars at heart, just turned into the high-strung race cars with a big variety of older and newer machinery.
There were several awards handed out in the build-up to the Haggerty race days here at the Runoffs. Rob Hummel, who you're looking at right there, he won the Sunoco 260 award. That award goes to the driver whose day one qualifying time had the final 3 digits, the digits to the right of the decimal point closest to 260. Congratulations to Rob, who picked up 10 gallons of fuel from Sunoco as a consequence of that achievement. Also had a award for the breakthrough performance on Hawk Breaks Day 2 of qualifying. Ron Olson, starting back in 17th, improved his time the most from day 1 to day 2. He wins a set of Hawk brake pads for improving from a 252.9 to a 246.3. That was a big improvement from day 1 to day 2. He is your Hawk Breakthrough Performance Award winner. And of course, the Tire Rack Pole Award to our pole sitter, Jesse Prather, whose fastest lap came on Tire Rack Pole Day. 227.322 was his pole winning time here at Road America. Field coming into alignment now, making their way down to Canada Corner. Tom, what are your expectations as we get set to go green?
Well, that blue BMW, car number 34, is Jesse Prather, and a little bit of redemption is on the table for him. He was the fastest car last year at VIR, pretty much hands down. It was his to lose. And on a restart, just kind of made a simple mistake at South Bend. A very fast left-hander, went off just a little bit. In most corners, it would have been harmless, but unfortunately, the front end of that car dug in and spewed dirt everywhere. He dropped all the way to the back, wasn't quite able to make his way to the front. I think he finished second. So that 34 car, again, commandingly on pole and wants some redemption.
Prather, a 3-time national champion, but the last one came all the way back in 2008 at Topeka at Heartland Park. Came so close a year ago, looking for that redemption here today. He'll start on the inside of the front row in that BMW Z3. It's John Brocky alongside in his 1999 Mazda Miata, the blue to the inside, the red to the outside. That's row number 1. John Hainsworth and Matt Reynolds make up row number 2. Tim Schreier and Cameron Wogren, row number 3 on the grid as they crest the hill and look for the green flag. The E-Production National Championship race is underway. Coverage presented by Mazda. Prather with a nice jump there at the start, and immediately Brocky comes under attack. He's going to lose several positions, unable to get the jump he was looking for. 2-3 wide further back time.
Look at Tim Schreier with a great start from, I think, 6th on the grid in the white BMW E30, all the way up to 4th now. He was challenging for 3rd, but Matt Reynolds shut the door of that Miata really good on the brakes. Now look in the background of your shot. That is the the white and blue Mazda RX-3 of Aaron Downey. He had a terrible week in qualifying, a ton of mechanical issues. He's finished 2nd here at Road America in that car in years past, and he's on a charge already halfway through the field.
That's great to see after all the struggles that he has had this week. Prather already with a nice advantage up front. A little bit defensive there into turn 5. That's Hainsworth in the number 95 machine on the attack, but he runs a little bit wide in turn 5, and that opens the door for the silver Miata to make a move to the inside.
Remember, Hainsworth thought he had more pace in that car, so he's keeping the pressure on, but he's not the only one that didn't have the best week. Matt Reynolds was the other one saying he might have some more to give, and he's fighting back hard. He dropped back to 5th at one point on the start, rallied in the braking zone for turn 1, and he's back up to 2nd place, keeping the pressure on Jesse Prather. There is that white and blue RX-3. Aaron Downey, whoa, a huge chuck down into turn 8. Crosses the car up, but makes it stick, and he's on a charge to the front.
Somehow he was able to roll that thing down enough to make the apex of that corner. You could see the hands flashing on the steering wheel. Great shot from our camera crew right there as Aaron Downey on the charge from the back of this field through the carousel. He's got one place he'd like to be, and that is the front. He is well on his way.
Sat on pole here in 2013, the last time the Runoffs were at Road America. Ended up finishing 2nd. I don't think he's going to make it to the front of this one, but any positions gained from the last row is an improvement. And after the week he's had, I'm sure he'll be thrilled with that. Now this is side-by-side between the 80 car and the 28. That is Rob Hummel and Bill Lampkin, with Hummel making a nice charge up towards the front of that RX-7.
A little bit wide there at the exit of Canada Corner, but able to bring it back under control. Now up the hill through Billy Mitchell Bend, and look at this. The battle for the lead is on. Jesse Prather under attack here in the early stages. Had that massive gap in qualifying, but that has not manifested itself here in the opening lap of this race.
It's BMW with a straight line advantage. Look at just how much he gaps the Miata down the straightaway, but Matt Reynolds is really pushing hard in that Miata and doing a great job. I really didn't expect him in the Miata to be able to maintain pressure on Jesse Prather, but the Miata a little bit lighter, should handle a little better. Whoa, look at how much cornering speed he can make up in the corners in that Miata as he closes the gap all the way down to the bumper of Jesse Prather.
Both of these drivers have 3 national championships to their names across multiple classes in some instances. That was close.
That was incredibly close, and that 38 BMW has a really cool story attached to it. That is Tim Schreier's first car ever. He learned to drive stick in it, he learned to autocross in it, he learned to road race in it, and that car is a 1987 model. That means it's closing in on 30 years, or is that over 30 years of racing history with that car, with Tim Schreier behind the wheel. Lost his brother a couple years ago and decided that this is now in honor of his brother to keep racing that car in E-Production, and he's really pushing hard to keep himself in contention for a bronze medal.
Had an amazing start to the race, has since lost a couple of spots, but doing his brother proud. Took a peek to the inside up the hill in turn 6, but thought better of it. Falls back in line, and the fight continues. We see Prather now able to leg out a bit of an advantage over Reynolds, who's giving chase. This is a great scrap here. See Tim Schreier there, sandwiched. Bunch of hungry drivers just on the outside of medal contention.
Gets a nose to the inside of Bill, that is Cameron Wagren out of Colorado in the slightly newer BMW. And the driver we didn't mention is John Brockie, who dropped all the way back to 6th in the red Miata. Having a hard race so far. Now there's Aaron Downey closing in on the top 5 already in that RX-3. He's finally got it running, and he's pressuring Bill Lampkin.
Downey's last lap, remember, he was knifing through traffic, still did a 2:38, which was right there on the pace with those that he is chasing. Here's a look down the inside from our outside pole sitter, Brockie. Can't get that pass done on Schreier that time, and that's going to cost him quite a bit of momentum. Miata, in all of its guys, is very much a momentum car. Maybe that had something to do with the lackluster start that he had.
Yeah, kind of got swallowed up, and if the car can't race with the faster cars around it, there's one thing about putting a flying lap down, but there's another thing to race the cars around you. And the Miata, being a momentum car, is one of the more challenging cars to race if you're facing cars that are faster in a straight line, especially if they have the torque to dig off of these slower corners at Road America.
Going to update you on Aaron Downey's progress in just a moment. He is currently chasing down the 28 of William Lampkin. That's the battle you see on the screen as it stands. That is for 7th place. It did not take Downey long, did it? He started 20th, dead last on this grid. And he's already inside the top 10 and hovering around where you need to be to at least be in contention for a medal.
Fortunate for him that he's been here a number of times in this car, because he really didn't get any laps this week. So he's not only learning that he's not necessarily got the same momentum on the event that the rest of the drivers have. He's kind of learning as he goes, because he didn't get any laps in qualifying, just barely crossed the start-finish line in one session to be able to get that qualifying lap in. But that car's starting to drop off the back of Bill Lampkin. I'm not sure if that's because Lampkin is hitting his stride or if Downey is now starting to encounter some issues. But his progress has slowed now that he's up into the top 10.
Yeah, that is a bit surprising to see, given the great start that he had. He brings so much experience to the equation as well. 17 previous runoff starts, 6 times he stood on the podium, still chasing that gold medal, however. As once again, we see Brocky taking a peek inside of Schreier, just can't get that move made. That BMW, very stout on the brakes. Miata is well known for how good they are under braking, and he can find no advantage going against that BMW.
You can see he lost a number of car lengths under acceleration, leaving turn 8, but made it all up in the carousel. So these two very different cars making speed in very different ways. Just so cool to see Tim Schreier out here. Used to deliver pizzas in that car. Now he's out here racing it at the Runoffs, battling with John Brocky for a top 5. At the front, it's still within a couple of tenths of each other. Whoa, it's a huge lockup, though, for Cameron Wagren.
Might open up an opportunity for these two cars to catch back up. Wagren hovering in the 4th position right now. Lost touch a little bit with John Hainsworth, who he's chasing. Hainsworth chasing these two. You can see Hainsworth's black car at the back of the shot. The last time by, we saw Prather with the fastest lap of the race through 2 laps, a 2:30.5. Reynolds was just 0.2 of a second off of that. So maybe confirming to some degree what we were expecting. He did not turn a lap on the 3rd day of qualifying. We thought maybe there was some more speed than we had seen relative to his 4th place starting position, and he's been able to keep up with Reynolds. But how about Hainsworth that last time by with the new fastest lap of the race, some half a second, in fact, faster than both Prather and Reynolds.
Yeah, this race is not at all what we would have expected if you just looked at the timesheets for qualifying. Now here's a battle down outside of the top 10. This is Tam Anastasopoulos, Don Tucker, and Rich Olson crossing the start-finish line in a big variety of cars. We've got Miata, RX-7, and BMW. Look at the legs on that RX-7. Stretches them all the way down the front straight and then has to back out of it into turn 1 a little bit. They're going to go door to door and sweeps across the nose to Anastopoulos. Still battles everywhere on the track at the Runoffs, even outside the top 10.
That's what makes this event so special, each position so meaningful to the participants. Been a little loose body work at the back of that Mazda.
I miscalled it. That was actually Anthony Jimerson who dropped a couple positions that time. So that was Anastopoulos, Jimerson in car.
Did you see any smoke coming out of the back of that 3rd place car, John Hainsworth? I thought I might have seen a little bit. That was tire smoke. That's a brake lockup, and you can see the result running wide through Hurry Downs.
I can't tell if that was a driver error or a mistake, but there is definitely smoke coming out of the back end of that car. He may be having some issues with the drive line in the rear end. We'll see when he gets to the next braking zone if he can figure it out. And that's really unfortunate because he manifested his own progress. He was saying, I think I have more speed in the car. He was showing that's true, but now he's kind of out of touch with this lead battle. Still super impressed, though, with Matt Reynolds keeping up in the Miata on the back end of that 2.5-liter BMW Z3.
And this is another example of cars that make their speed a little bit differently. It seems like the BMW has some strength on the straightaways. The Miata very good through this center section of the track where it's a lot of twisting and turning. But that's a tough proposition to try and make the pass then if you're going to get outrun on the straightaways.
It looks like Hainsworth has recovered and is doing okay. Unfortunately, like I said, he's lost touch with the top two. It's going to take a lot more than speed to catch up to those two, I think, at this point. But going back to the front two, you're talking about the straight line advantage that the BMW may have, and it's not so much on the top end. Those cars making very similar trap speeds, very similar speeds on the way into the corner, but it's that amount of power and torque that the BMW has coming off the corners just gaps the Miata for the first couple hundred yards, and that makes it very hard to pass.
That was a very costly mistake there for Hainsworth because he was reeling in the 2 leaders, had just done the fastest lap of the race on the previous lap, and all of a sudden has seen his deficit to the 2 leaders balloon out to over 5 seconds. This is a battle that just won't go away either. Brocky working hard on Schreier. Looks like William Lampkin was able to get past Aaron Downey as well on that last lap.
Schreier goes defensive with the straight line advantage in the BMW E30, a little bit more power in that car as well. So BMW Miata battles going on in a number of places around this track, but look at the Miata on the brakes, closes up to the back bumper, rolls a little bit more apex speed, and now it's a fight once again. The trouble for the Miatas in both situations, John Brocky and Matt Reynolds, is when and where do you pass? I just seen a little smoke
I
on the
did
back
too.
of the 89 as well. That's Brocky.
I had the same thought. Let's take a look at this fight here. Lance Lohman is in the yellow number 20, putting some pressure. I think that's on Doug Piner. In the 06, indeed it is. This is for 9th place. Give the position to Lohman. The Michigander able to make the pass.
Lemon and lime, back and forth. A very similar car to the leader for Piner. A much older 1973 Datsun for, that's Lance Lohman out of Michigan.
Gotta love the mix of cars that you see at the runoffs. It's just a beautiful thing. Not just for the eyes, but for the ears as well. The cars sound distinctly different. And in a day and age where so many series are going to spec racing, the cars kind of sound the same, a lot of turbo, small displacement engines, you get everything. A cornucopia of sounds and sights at the runoffs.
Growing up hanging off the fence at Mid-Ohio, watching the runoffs as a kid, this was always my favorite race weekend to watch, and production racing was always my favorite classes. To this day, I still want to daily drive a production-looking race car on the street as my daily driver. Lance Lohman holding down 10th in E-Production here in that beautiful Datsun, just in front of Doug Piner. Both of these drivers clinging onto the top 10. Jesse Prather at the front, though, resets the fastest lap of the race that time through. These drivers are pushing harder and harder.
And a personal best from Matt Reynolds as well, so doing his best to keep pace. It's a matter of a 1/10 of a second, basically. A 1/10 of a second, one lap to the next. Prather really making hay in sectors 1 and 3. And in fact, actually had the advantage. No, he did not. Reynolds did have an advantage by about 6/10 of a second in sector 2 the last time. That is where the Miata is thriving relative to Prather. This is that battle for the lead right here. You can see it's now 6/10 of a second between first and second. This still is a good part of the track for the BMW, but as they exit 5, make the run up to 6, this next sequence of corners, we should see Reynolds, if he can put it all together, able to reel in the BMW a little bit.
And Reynolds is, as you said, he should be closing up through this section. The sector 2 is where we are on the track, and that should be where the Miata shines. About 7.7 liters difference between these cars, and the minimum weights are based on that, so the BMW should be relatively heavy compared to the Miata. And Reynolds' job at this point is to just keep the pressure on. He's got to run the tires off of the BMW from Jesse Prather, because Prather has the overall pace, but he's got to pressure him either into a mistake or overdriving the car just a little bit. And you can see the Miata has somewhat closed up on the back. They're coming through where sector 2 will end. And Hainsworth still holds a really solid third after that. I think it was just a simple brake lockup.
That's good to see. We were concerned at the health of that race car, and there was some smoke before we saw the lockup smoke, the tire smoke. It does seem to be persisting, maybe on shifts or something like that, a little bit coming out, but the pace of the car has still been quite good. He's a little bit off the pace of the front too, but clearly the third fastest car on the track right now. And with Prather and Reynolds trading fastest laps and fastest sectors, going to be hard to make headway against those two.
And that can be tough. After you make a mistake, you lose the rabbit to chase. Once you're kind of lapping by yourself, as John Hainsworth is, sometimes it can be easy to get a little complacent and just kind of turn your laps. Because, as you said, his pace has dropped just a little bit since he made that mistake. Now, personal best sectors 1, 2, and 3 for a new track, a new fastest lap of the race for Jesse Prather that time through. We're looking at the battle, though, between Cameron Wagren and John Brocky. Now, unfortunately, it seems that Tim Schreier may have dropped out of this one just a little bit. There he is, still in the back of frame, but he has dropped out of the top 5 battle.
Not sure what happened to him there. That last lap, though, was considerably slower than what he had done previously, so something clearly went amiss. But still in the fight. And here we go, our two leaders who turned laps that were 33 thousandths of a second apart from one another on that last lap. Prather resetting the fastest lap, but only barely. The lead basically unchanged at 0.670 seconds. And then Hainsworth here doing his best to try and reel them in. His lap time at 2:30.9. That's about 1.5 seconds off of what the top two guys are doing at the moment. But this is a long race. We're just past the halfway mark. And as we heard from Hayward, Tom, at the beginning of the show, reliability is going to be a storyline. Most likely, this track in particular really puts a strain on the race cars, and this class has a reputation for this being a bit more of an endurance race in a sprint format, so that combination, you really can't feel all that confident no matter what your situation is. But for now, Jesse Prather has the lead over Matt Reynolds here in the E-Production Championship race.
Today's broadcast of the SCCA Runoffs is brought to you by Mazda. Feel alive.
When the finish line calls, we answer. Hit the road with insurance protection from Hagerty. Whether you drive a built racer, sports car, or exotic, and save an average of $264. Get a quote today at Hagerty.com.
It's happening more often, and that's not surprising.
Yeah.
People are getting lost to find themselves. And discovering the best part is often hidden in the journey along the way. The first ever CX-30. Performance that inspires with available iActive all-wheel drive.
There is the gap first to second here at the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. Jesse Prather leading the way, was able to pick up about 1/10 of a second on Matt Reynolds that time by. The lead has grown ever so slightly to 7/10 of a second. John Hainsworth now has fallen off of this lead duo and trails by about 9.5 seconds, running in the third spot. But we've got good racing up and down this field. Cameron Wagren, John Brocky, Tim Schreier all running pretty close together for 4th, 5th, and 6th. And these are guys that know, hey, if something happens to any of the top 3, they're in position to pick up the pieces and bring home a medal with the Runoffs.
And that Red Miata, John Brocky, was one of the fastest cars on the track a few laps ago. He's slowed a little bit since, but he was on a charge, so don't be surprised if the 89 car comes back up to the back end of the 181 of Cameron Wagren. Those two cars on your screen now. Behind them, Tim Schreier dropped off of this battle after being well in it for a little bit. So the white BMW may not be done yet either, but this is the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th after John Hainsworth, running a very lonely 3rd, is a little bit further up the road.
Going back to our discussion about the top 2 cars making their speed in different ways, there is a trap speed monitor just before the brake zone in turn 5. Jesse Prather that last time 140 miles an hour into that braking zone. That was his trap speed there. That's 6 miles an hour faster than Reynolds, but nevertheless, they're turning virtually identical lap times.
Yeah, and that's key. We're watching what can be the most intense racing inside the car, even if it is not the most action-packed from the outside of the car. What was action-packed, though, was that little brake lock-up from Cameron Wagren down into turn 8. That was actually under local yellow, and I think John Brock, you thought better of passing him for a moment, but then realized maybe it was a mistake. was kind of an awkward exchange between the two, but Brocky took the advantage and decided to drive off up into the distance, and that brought Tim Schreier to the back of Cameron Wagren. So an awkward mistake, a brake lockup under local caution, just changed the face of this battle for 5th pretty significantly, and Schreier's back in it.
Deep on the brakes into Canada corner and backs out of it. Couldn't quite get it wound up enough to get alongside and make the pass on Wagren. But doing a good job. We saw him drop back a couple of laps ago. Whatever the problem was, he seems to have recovered. Piling the pressure on now, trying to force another mistake. And look at Brocky. He has stolen a march since making that pass. He is well up the road already.
And I think Cameron Wagren was holding him up just a little bit. So now that he's got clean air, he has a long way to go to catch John Hainsworth. It's going to be a tall order to the tune of 10 seconds or so. But if he can just put in some clean laps and start to drive away from these BMWs, he can solidify that 4th place finish.
On the last lap, by the way, our leader, Jesse Prather, a new fastest lap of the race. Critically, a personal best in Sector 2, and he was faster than Reynolds in Sector 2 on that last lap. That's usually where that Miata has been strong relative to the BMW, and it seems like maybe the handling is starting to go away for Reynolds a little bit because he lost about a second on that last lap.
Yeah, that's bad news for Reynolds if the one sector where his car is faster is no longer the place that he's making up time on Jesse Prather. It's almost 2 seconds up at the front, which is going the wrong way for Reynolds. But look at this lunge.
That Schreier up the inside into turn 5, gets the job done. Beautiful move to the inside in one of the favorite passing zones on this racetrack.
Certainly not delivering pizzas today is Tim Schreier, up to 5th place in the 38 car. 10 years separate these BMWs, very similar otherwise. 1987 E30 to a 1997 E36.
Schreier, one of 100 or so one-offs rookies here this year. Nearly 600 total entries for this great event. Having an iconic destination like Road America certainly helps to entice folks to come out, even in the midst of what has been, without equivocation, a very difficult 2020 for the whole world, let alone the racing world. So many of our drivers we've talked to throughout the course of the weekend have been quick to thank the organizers with the SCCA and here at Road America for finding a way to keep racing going during a global pandemic. No small feat, to say the least. And
not just the organizers, but all the volunteers that are here to make the event actually function. A well-oiled machine that is the week plus of racing at the SCCA Runoffs. Not just Hagerty race days, but all the qualifying days, all of the practice days, all of those flaggers and everybody else that makes this event happen takes their time out of their normal lives to make these events function and function smoothly.
This is John Brocky, once again, from North Dakota, who started on the outside of the front row, trying to charge his way back up after a disastrous start to this race. And we drop back a little bit further. The 20 is Lance Lohman, Doug Piner in the BMW up ahead. The lemon and the lime, I like how you said that earlier. Very evocative color schemes.
And it's the lime that takes the advantage since the last time we saw him. The 06 of Doug Piner has gotten back around the Datsun of Lance Lohman. So this is the battle for just inside the top 10, 9th and 10th respectively. And it looks like Piner is starting to pull away just a little bit from Lance Lohman.
Piner's previous best result at the Runoffs is 6th.
Whoa.
7 years ago here at Road America.
Tires may be starting to go away on the back of that Datsun as he leaves a couple of 11s leaving turn 14.
11s is being a technical term?
That is, yes. I went to high school.
Beautiful shot. 2 beautiful race cars in a wonderful setting here at Road America. Ever since it opened in 1955, it's been playing host to top flight road racing. So much heritage in this area. The Elkhart Lake road races go back even further than the founding of Road America, which is the brainchild of one Cliff Tufte, who was honored this weekend with his statue. If you're here, you should go check it out. All of us who love this place have him to thank. It's his brainchild, and we're all just playing here on basically the same layout that he came up with. Aaron Johnson making his way around this racetrack at the moment, running in 13th position in his Honda S2000.
This is a cool car, one of only 2 cars in the field that was made post-2000. So this is a Honda S2000 with a chop top. and he's running in 13th right now out of Oakfield, New York. Kind of lonely on the track, but a very cool car nonetheless.
Doing a nice job bringing it home in a clean manner here as we get down to the wire, closing few laps. And no one can rest easy because, as we've talked about, attrition can always rear its ugly head. Here's Kurt Freecher right now, a little bit further back in the number 8 machine. Love just listening to the sound of these race cars.
You can hear that's not just any Miata. It's a high-strung race motor in there, even though it is the same 1.8-liter Miata engine that you would find in a street car cruising on the back roads in any given day.
That is one of the fun elements coming to the runoffs, seeing all the different iterations of Miata race cars that can race under the SCCA banner. So many different classes that they fit into. Some classes that they fit into, you're not quite sure how exactly, and yet they're always there, omnipresent. This is heartbreaking to see.
Yeah, Bill Lampkin in the 28 car looks like he has dropped out, and the first car falls victim to mechanical failures on lap 11 of 13. It's been a good run for E-Production in general, but with 2 laps to go, oh, there he goes, leaving a little burnout. Maybe couldn't find a gear for a moment and got it free, shaking the head. He's frustrated, but going under his own power once again.
Had been in the 7th spot prior to hitting trouble there. Great to see him get back up and running again because that car was very much in a compromised position. This is Schreier once again, who's been in the middle of things throughout the course of this race. That's the 38. Cameron Wagrin right behind, running in 6th in the 181.
These drivers starting to navigate some lap traffic, which is generally pretty good at getting out of the way and making sure they are invisible to the cars around them. You see the driver pointing, letting them know where he's going to stay and where he wants them to go. Beautifully done, not interrupting this race for 5th place between the 2 BMWs.
It's Rich Olson, the number 66, 1985 Mazda RX-7.
Well done, Rich.
Started alongside Ron Olson, both from Barrington, both driving Mazdas, separated in years by 26 years. That 85 RX-7 for Rich, Ron driving a 2011 RX-8.
The newest car in the field.
That's right.
Speaking of the newest car in the field, on the opposite end, the oldest car in the field, one of them anyway, the Mazda RX-3, Aaron Downey, still circulating all the way up to 7th from very last on the grid. He should be just a little bit further back on the road from this battle that we're continuing to watch between Schreier and Wagrin.
This is Canada corner. There's a car off to the right side of the track. That is the lime in our lemon lime battle earlier, I'm afraid to say.
Looks like a little bit of body damage. Maybe got on the curb on the exit and went for a little slide. Being protected right now by the Road America safety team, so that corner will be under local caution probably for the remainder of this race as we are approaching 2 laps to go. The leader is already working the second to last lap.
Sorry to see that for Doug Piner there. Just a moment ago, this perhaps the most compelling battle on the track right now, internecine between the BMWs. And a big move to the outside there. Schreier gonna fight back though in the braking zone, trying to stick with Cameron Wagrin. These two have been at it for a couple of laps here, Tom. They should know each other's tendencies by now.
The little bit of a straight line advantage for the 181 car of Wagrin was able to easily motor past Schreier and then take that position back. Those guys battling for top 5, and top 5 at the runoffs is not insignificant. I've been watching the sector times up towards the front and the lap times, and after that mega lap that Jesse Prather put in to extend what is visibly about a 2-second gap, Matt Reynolds has slowly pulled it back in by about a 10th every lap. The bad news for Reynolds is that is not enough to close the gap before the end of this race. He's going to need about 100 laps at that rate to get there.
Would stand to reason that perhaps Prather, after establishing the lead of about 2 seconds, has been in gap management mode. No reason to stress the car any more than you need to. It's the old Alain Prost thought process, right? I want to win going as slow as I can.
On top of that, the redemption from last year, having the lead even more commandingly than this year, but unable to solidify the championship after a gentle off, put him all the way at the back of the field. He worked his way all the way back up into the metal contention. But you can just see how long these guys have, over almost 20 seconds back to John Hainsworth. This is the 40 car, lap traffic of Kurt Frisch.
From Mountain View, California, made the trek out to Road America. As the leader comes out of turn 14, awaiting the white flag, Jesse Prather out in front, one of 3 drivers in the seed production field that has 3 Runoffs gold medals to their name across numerous classes. Looking to break that tie, he is 4 miles away. Beautiful blue BMW. Put together a nice lap that time and actually extended the lead by another half a second. It's up over 2 seconds once again to 2.5. And this is Hainsworth, who was amongst that battle for the lead early on and has dropped off a little bit, still running a strong third.
And we're still seeing little puffs of smoke out of the back of the 95. He's only got 4 miles at this point, probably 3.7, 3.6, and he's ticking down. We were getting word potentially a rear axle seal or diff issue, losing a little bit of fluid onto the exhaust. Something back there creating those small puffs of smoke every once in a while. But the cars continue to circulate, running solid laps as one of the fastest cars on track.
Only needs to make it another 3 miles or so, but those can be a long 3 miles when you're at the runoffs and trying to clinch yourself a podium position. Top 2 still in the same frame as they have been all race long, but there really has not been an answer for Jesse Prather. When he's needed to find the speed, he has dug deep and found it. A couple of times we've seen Reynolds be able to pull up close, maybe think about making a challenge, but the opportunities have been few and far between. And especially over the second half of this race, Prather has been able to assert his dominance.
And he's never put a wheel wrong this entire race. The car looks very composed still, even after 13 laps, or 12 and a half laps, I should say. Just very tight, tidy, clean driving from Jesse Prather. Kind of kept his cool and checks the brakes just a little bit for the final heavy braking zone of the last lap of this championship race.
Through hurry downs and into Canada corner. Makes that right-handed bend. Just a couple of more corners left to navigate. Here's the left-hander, Billy Mitchell Bend, where the bridge used to be for so many years. And now he'll hang a right onto the front straightaway through turn number 14. 2019 was a year of disappointment for Jesse Prather, but he put that behind him. Started on pole with a dominatingly fast lap and led flag to flag to take his 4th national championship. This one in E-Production, Jesse Prather is your national champion. A little bit further back after Reynolds crossed the line in second position, John Hainsworth with that puff of smoke that we've been seeing from him all race long, makes the right-handed corner at turn 14, and he will cruise to a 3rd place finish and a podium result at Road America. And this battle not done yet. Lap traffic certainly played its part. Schreier able to get out in front of Wagren, and that was opposite when they came by the last time. Give the position to Tim Schreier. That is for 5th place here at the runoffs. Cameron Wagren will have to settle for the 6th spot here in 2020.
Fist pumping across the line. I think he may be happier than 5th than anybody in front. Having the race of his life there, Cameron Wagren reclaiming a top 5 finish on that final lap, and I think we're about to see that move. Was indeed lap traffic balked Cameron Wagren, picked the wrong side, gave him a little wave, and I don't know if that was a good wave or a bad wave, but unfortunately for Wagren, it allowed Schreier to sweep around the outside.
Now that's part of the game. Working lap traffic is part and parcel with winning a national championship. And in this case, the brakes broke Tim Schreier's way. He comes home in the 5th spot. Still a couple more positions yet to be settled. Number 20 car, Lance Lohman, coming around the corner there. Tim Anastopoulos right behind, tucks into the slipstream as they climb the hill. Doesn't look like he's got a chance to make it happen this time.
He's going to try. This is all for position, still inside the top 10. A photo finish nearly for those drivers down there for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. A great duel.
Yeah, Lamkin was able to get by Lohman earlier on that lap. Lohman comes home 9th, and Anastopoulos 10th. Here's the 8 of Don Tucker. Still matriculating around the track. For Don Tucker, a veteran of 14 previous runoffs. It just tells you, once you get the hook in, it keeps you coming back. This is an experience unlike any other in motorsports, and for so many of these club members, they plan their lives around being at the runoffs each and every year. Tucker brings it home across the line with a 13th place result here at Road America. These two, though, controlled the show for much of the day. The 34, Jesse Prather, Matt Reynolds in the 71. The way they run in the picture is the way they finished. And a few moments ago, we did see the two of them side by side waving at one another. Great show of sportsmanship and appreciation for what both of them were able to accomplish today.
Yeah, a lot of respect between these two. And Jesse Prather gets the redemption after heartbreak at VIR, comes back to Road America to take the gold medal, and a great performance from Matt Reynolds after a tough week of qualifying. Started 4th up to 2nd in the Hagerty Race Day race for E-Production.
Probably had to be wondering what today would hold given the struggles on Tire Rack Pole Day. We've talked about it a few times, but Reynolds did not set a time on that 3rd day of qualifying. His time from day 2, Hawk Breaks day 2 of qualifying, that's what he had to fall back on. It was a good one, but I'm sure on a day that all the competitors determined was the fastest day, that day 3, Pole Day, so many of the fast times came on that day. To miss that opportunity to start a little bit higher up, that has to be frustrating. But not sure anybody had anything for this man. Jesse Prather, a dominant performance in qualifying. 1.4 seconds, the margin from 1st to 2nd. Withstood the charge from Reynolds for the first half of this race. Never put a wheel wrong. Like you said, that car always looked totally under control.
And a beautiful prep from Jesse Prather Motorsports with Hoosier, Carbotech, and Sunoco supporting that car. He will get the flag handed to him for an extra bonus lap in a few minutes.
But first, he has to talk to our Hayward Wagner. He'll be doing so here shortly. National Championship number 4 for Jesse Prather from Topeka, Kansas. And Hayward is standing by. Hayward?
Jesse Prather, the last couple of years, you've watched your engines come to victory lane a whole bunch of times. How does it feel to come back as a driver?
Well, this is one of my engines too. So I'll tell you, it's a long time coming. Haven't won one of these since 2008. Opened up my business in 2009 and really focused on that for a lot of years. And I'll tell you, my proudest moment is to be out there racing with my good friend and customer Matt Reynolds and John Hainsworth and John Brackey back there. Man, what a good race. Loved it.
In that time between getting to Victory Circle last year was particularly frustrating. How does it feel to be able to come back and redeem that finish?
Well, last year, you know, I really felt good about everything and really felt that I made a mistake. And I've been telling myself all year that I'm going to act like a machine behind the wheel. And that's what I told myself this whole race. And man, Matt really pushed me in places, and I really focused hard to get this win today.
Well fought, well earned. You get to take one more lap, this time with a flag in your hand. Enjoy that.
Thank you very much.
I think we might have a new nickname coming. How does Jesse the Machine Prather sound?
I like that, and I like that not many drivers can say they powered the entire podium, but Jesse Prather Motorsports engines in the top 4 cars at this event, and you can just hear how much it meant to him to not only be the winner for himself, but to be supporting so many of the other club racers out here.
Well, he said he's been focusing on the business. Maybe no better way to advertise the business than to stick one of your cars with your own motor in victory lane, and then the sweep of the top 4, like you said. You see the top 10 up on the screen there. A bunch of happy drivers, including 2nd and 3rd place, and Hayward has caught up with the rest of the podium.
Matt Reynolds, welcome back to the podium in E-Production. It looked like you were able to get to Jesse, but not really able to get around him.
Yeah, I could hang with him in the first half of the race. Car felt good, and you know, the Hoosier tires really stuck with it. So it was good staying on his bumper, but started losing the tires a little bit halfway there through the race, and so he kind of checked out a little bit and just managed the gap. So he ran a perfect race, and congrats to him. It was a great win for him.
A great podium here for you in second. Anybody you need to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank Jesse Prather Motorsports. He built a great engine, as you can see. Hoosier Tires, G-Lock Brakes, Vintage Connection, Reynolds Brothers Racing. I got my family here. My wife Taylor, brother Alex, my dad Dave, and my mom's at home watching. Stepmom Lisa's at home watching. So I got friends watching too. So it's all great.
Well, congratulations to you, the whole Reynolds family. We'll let you head over to the podium. We'll bring John up. John, come on up. John, you just have to make these Runoffs weeks an adventure, don't you?
Yeah, always. We ended up pulling the motor on Monday morning just in time for, missing a whole test day. So, it was a lot of work, but we got it all back together with a little help from Jesse and Steve Eckrich, my engine builder, and we were able to get it back on track and learn it just in time to put on a show with these guys.
How satisfying is it to be able to come back to the podium here at the Runoffs with all these challenges?
Oh, it feels great. Anytime you're out there with three-time national champions and you can run with them, it makes you feel great. First time here, I feel like I learned the track, and when I come back, there's going to be more time here. So,
well, congratulations to you on the bronze. We look forward to seeing you back next year.
Real quick, I just got to thank Hoosier, Mazda, and Carbotech for all their great products and all their great help. Thank you very much.
Great to hear from the podium down there near Victory Lane at Road America. Let's take a look at how this e-production race played out. Jesse Prather from the pole got a great start. Same cannot be said for John Bronke in the red Miata. On the outside of the front row at the start, he's back in 5th by the time they reached turn 1 time.
Yeah, but that was that good charge from Tim Schreier, which set him up for an awesome race for a top 5. But at the front, this start from John Hainsworth solidified his top 3 run. We're going to see John Hainsworth get passed by Matt Reynolds at the start of this race, and Matt sets his sights on the back of that movie.
Good racing up and down the field, and here was our lemon and our lime. These two were inseparable for a long time. Lance Loman as well as Piner. Those two going door to door. This was one example of it, but we saw it several times throughout the course of this race. And here's a bold move up the inside. The number 38 car, Tim Schreier, had himself a nice run. And these two as well, Schreier and Cameron Wagren, with a great battle throughout the course of the race. But there was no one to answer the power of Jesse Prather. The motors, they did their job. He did the rest behind the wheel. And here is the final run for 5th position, with Schreier able to get around Wagren right there in turn 14 on the final lap. And here is that coveted victory lap as well. Jesse Prather will celebrate his 4th national championship, this time in e-production.